Candina, you made the journey from tech executive to company founder. 25 years you were at Microsoft. What made you think it was time to move on?
Well, I'd been thinking about what to do for future years for a while. I'd been with Microsoft for a long time, which I loved. I really loved being with the company. I'd been living all over the world. I'm Australian, you can hear that from my accent. Started in Australia, lived in the US, in France, in Singapore. So it'd been quite a journey. And I'd worked in all different roles across different divisions. And I needed to move back to Singapore because my father wasn't well and it was easier to be closer to Australia. I was thinking about the types of roles that I do better at. It became clear after meeting with a lot of people and working through a number of different kind of soul-searching situations that it would make sense to try and do my own thing, especially given I have a background in marketing and a lot of the work is related to some like core marketing activities.
Okay, so you'd made the decision, this is the time to leave. What was going on in your mind before you left?
So I'd done a role in the US where we were managing global digital events during COVID, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. We were doing a lot of new things that we hadn't done before, trying new things, probably about 3 times the workload that we would normally have. And it got to the point where I was literally just really, really tired. Even though I'd loved what I was doing, I was super exhausted and I had some health issues as well. I was getting divorced, moving country. I have 2 children and it was just a lot. And so I was really ready to just take some time out and just understand and be and reflect on, you know, what I wanted to do going forward, basically. Just take a break. Like I really needed to take a break. I also found that, you know, in a corporate situation, I mean, Microsoft's a great company, great culture. I'd worked with some amazing leaders, had so many friends within the company. So that was hard to think about leaving something like that. It had given me so much in terms of the ability to travel. And like now I know people all around the world. Like you pick a country and it's like, oh, yes, I can go and see such and such. So from that perspective, it's been, I mean, an amazing kind of learning and opportunities to work on some world-class first mover things. But basically I was really needing to have a break because I was tired. I was losing patience with things that would be normal, like within a corporate situation. It's like, oh yeah, that's just working in a corporate. It's totally fine. But I didn't have patience for it any longer. And so I wasn't managing it in the way that I should, basically. And so it was time to really kind of step aside and just take some time out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Life sounds quite heavy.
It doesn't feel heavy. It's just life. You know, it's like anything. You go through you go through periods where, you know, you're on a roll and things are fabulous and amazing and you're having a great time, and then you go through times where it's like, okay, it's time to reset, have to sort some things out. That's kind of normal, really. Yes. Like it's more
ups and downs.
It's more that's just the way it is. And so you know that it's not always going to be difficult. It's not always going to be super, you know, fabulous all the time. And it just comes in waves, and that can happen daily as well, especially going on an entrepreneurial journey. It's like or in general, like even in a corporate situation, there's good days and then there's hard days, and that's just life.
So the initial period after leaving Microsoft, where was your head at and what were you thinking about?
I was thinking about one, you know, okay, having a break, and then what do I do next? I spent a bit of time working with McKinsey. The objective was to really kind of look at a broad spectrum of companies and understand, you know, what everyone was doing out there in the world outside of, you know, my kind of Microsoft zone where I'd been for so many years. And I spent a lot of time meeting different people from different industries and going to a lot of conferences and events and all around the world, different things. I was doing some speaking engagements across different industries, talking to a lot of people from different industries, because in a technology sense, you work across multiple industries anyway. So you work with a lot of people who are driving technological adoption and transformation. And so you do get a cross-section of industries already. But what's different, I found, is just the cultural aspects associated with there's probably two things, cultural aspects and then the language that's used within different industries as well. So it's just more kind of feeling out what was going on and kind of understanding what could be possible going forward. My initial thought originally was to go into a different industry and do a leadership role within a different industry, but that was really dependent on the type of role, the type of leader, what was, going on at the time. So it was really just an exploration.
So you were open at that time?
I was really open, yeah.
So it's quite a big leap going from 25 years in a big company working with big teams to suddenly you're on your own.
Yes.
How did you find that?
I always loved, I don't want it to sound like a cliche that I loved, developing people, but I really loved it. Like some people are leaders and they don't enjoy some of the aspects associated with having a team. I love having a team. I love my team. I love my colleagues, and we're able to work with some really world-class teams, especially across like some of the global projects that we were doing. And so I really missed working with the type of people with the level of motivation and my team, to be honest. It was like I was always so lucky to have such great, team members and peers and friends. And so I did miss the rhythm of kind of getting up in the morning, putting on putting on a suit or whatever, or at least a jacket and going out.
Brushing your hair.
Brushing my hair, yeah, exactly. and going and like spending the day it was quite a structured, you have meetings, you have
it's a structured life, isn't
you
it?
have your beautiful office that you're going to, you have all your tech that works perfectly, as something as simple as that. At the beginning, I didn't really think as much about it, but over time I started thinking, wow, I'm like really missing, this structure and having my people around me, basically.
You'd left Microsoft, you were taking some time. Where did the idea for a laptop bag come from?
I know, it's so I've been asked this like quite often. It's like, why laptop bags? I mean, I'm like, yeah, because I worked in tech. Yeah, but why laptop bags? Part of my journey at Microsoft, I worked about 15 years in the PC industry, like on Windows and on consumer and retail. And so part of that was we used to run category management for some of the big retailers. And part of that is looking at the overall category around a PC and what is kind of sold around a PC. And I worked on the Surface launch and the Surface business for a while as well. There was always a need to have really high-end accessories, be worthy of the laptop, I would say, because if I look at the amount of effort that goes into building these devices and making them beautiful and, a great user experience, it's like it needs to be worthy, like something needs to be worthy of these devices. And I always found that there was a gap in a particular area around, especially female forward. The bags that I've done are for, I've made them for men and women. After getting feedback from the guys that they were also missing, they couldn't find what they needed. That's really where it came from insight from a category perspective in terms of an opportunity to serve professionals where it wasn't actually being served at the moment.
So these are not just laptop bags. You've thought a lot about the design. Do you want to talk us through that?
I have some that I prepared earlier for you here. So this is an example. So I have different styles. Basically, they've been modelled off a clutch and a clutch bag. So, and the background behind that is, and this is the experience of a lot of people that I've worked with and peers from other industries as well. When I was previously working in corporate, I travelled maybe about 50% of the time in certain roles, and that would mean you would be, obviously on planes, you would be, in meetings and in the office all day. And generally we'd go out to dinners, business dinners and things like that at night. And even like if you're not traveling, that's quite a common kind of occurrence. The way I normally travel is I travel with carry-on. So you don't have to check bags, you don't have to waste time. If there's a snowstorm or a hurricane or whatever, you don't get stuck. I remember like going on a crazy journey once. The first time I travelled away from my eldest daughter, it was when the volcano erupted in Iceland, and we were stuck. I was living in Paris at the time, and we got stuck in Seattle, and I was like, oh my God, my baby. my baby. And so, in those sort of situations, it's like I just want to, I don't want to be tied down by different things. And so the thought process behind it is I normally travel with a carry-on bag. I normally have a big tote bag that I travel with as well. And what I like is to have like a little handbag that I can put in it as well as my laptop bag that fits in it. And so this was designed to look like a big kind of handbag, a big clutch. It was also designed like there's a rounded base, and so it can easily fit into a tote bag.
Crazy bag lady in the good way.
Yeah, crazy bag lady. So it easily kind of fits into a tote bag. Nice. I normally travel with a bigger one than that, actually. But you can also take it like to a restaurant or whatever, and it's not bulky. When you're in the office and you're going between meetings, everyone was walking around with stacks of like laptops with things stacked on top, the notebook and the mouse and their phone and the, and it's like you've got like this stack of things, so you're not carrying around something bulky. So it was just easy to carry around the office. The brief that I worked with the design team in the factory was literally, I want a laptop bag, which is a big clutch. And so it also comes with a strap. So this is a strap here. It's detachable, just easily detaches like this. There we go. The reason why I wanted like a really robust strap like this with it is because often, you could be, not that I would recommend it, but you can be carrying up to like 3 kilos of tech. And so I actually got some feedback from a musculoskeletal specialist, an osteopath, who's the head of one of the associations, and he gave me some feedback into the strap design. So it's, a thick, robust strap, adjustable, it can be crossbody, but the design is to be carried in a complement to your heavier bag. So at the moment, a lot of people are carrying, like they're getting musculoskeletal problems from being like lopsided, lopsided from carrying too much on one side. And so this is designed to kind of balance out your tech load. So at least you've got, partially everything that you're carrying around during the day on one bag, and then you can carry your tech on the other. It's also easier to access than a backpack, so it's a bit more flexible, but you can still put it in your bigger bag if you need to.
I like that it's got the chunkier, like this. You can tell that that's going to be really comfortable on your shoulder.
Yes, yeah.
Lovely. And that's got a nice leather bit on the top as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so on the point around the leather on the design as well. So, one thing that was really important was to ensure that it was sustainable as well.
That's a good point. Yeah. So I said leather, but actually, crucially, it's not leather, right?
Yeah, so it is, it's plant-based vegan leather. So I've been a big fan of trying to put in place sustainable practices for a long time. I think we started working on it probably around 2009. I was based in Paris at the time. We started working on Smart Cities initiative. So that's always been a kind of really important top of mind aspect. And, coming from Microsoft as well, it had a very serious sustainable agenda. And all of our partners and all of our, like any process that we were going through around, marketing or events or anything like that, we were looking at what is the most sustainable way that we can kind of move forward. And so what I found going through that is it literally came down to just making the decision to do it. So it's like, yes, we want these sustainable options, so let's put this sustainable option in place. That's the same for multiple subjects, by the way. It's like you make the decision to do it, you put it in place, it goes down the line. That's how it works. And so with this, it was important for me to be able to demonstrate that you can actually just make that choice. So I chose to use plant-based vegan leather or 100% recycled fabrics. So I have one design which is made from 100% recycled nylon, and it's beautiful and soft. Like it's really soft and silky.
Like I'm just stubbornly holding on to this one. Yeah. I'm not putting it down.
The decision around doing something which is a sustainable option was not that hard. Like it doesn't cost that much more. The only reason why it costs a little bit more at the moment is because it's not as common. It's not as much of a common choice, but it's certainly not something which is bank breaking or P&L breaking in terms of being able to make a more sustainable choice. Even instead of using a plastic option, I've chosen like a biodegradable bag. All of the duster bag, they're all 100% recycled as well. Even the tags are all 100% recycled. I've tried to use that option as much as possible, even down to logistics. So the logistics partners I'm working with, they have a very clear strategy around sustainability. They use green options. They use electric vehicles when they can. They, so biofuel is something that kind of everyone is kind of transitioning to at the moment. So that was like a really important aspect as well.
And just looking at this as well, you do feel like you're buying a luxury bag. This isn't what you expect when you're buying a laptop bag, right? It feels like a really luxurious experience.
Thank you.
Like buying a really nice handbag, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the point. I have like a Valentino bag, for example, and I love my Valentino bag. I don't necessarily want to give that up. But I'm not happy with the laptop bag options that are available. They don't really kind of, live up to my Valentino bag. So I noticed that there was a lot of, especially women walking around with laptops in canvas bags. Or, I love Longchamp. I think it's a great brand. I have several of their pliage bags, but it's not a laptop bag. It doesn't protect your $2,000 device. They were kind of the most common options that I saw, or the tote bag, which is, it becomes too heavy to carry everything around in. So, so I wanted to create something which was sustainable, worthy of, a professional and how they want to show up in the world, and also had a design which was practical in terms of traveling and was able to fit all your tech.
It makes sense looking backwards a little bit, knowing you and knowing that you're quite chic, or very chic, and that you're also very into health and wellness and the health benefits of the strap and all the things you thought about. Looking back, it completely makes sense. I can completely imagine at the beginning people like, Candina's making laptop bags now? This is random.
I thought you'd do an AI project. What? Yeah.
Executing the bag. What was the first thing you looked at?
So I've been working with AI tools, or at least AI-based data, for a while, and really grounding in data, especially being someone who comes from a company like Microsoft. It's like the data is super important. The main thing that's done when a company goes through a transformation is to make sure that their data is consolidated, because it normally lives all over the place. So the data for me was like, okay, what does the market look like? What is the, opportunity here? What do people need? What does that mean in terms of, is there a market for this or not? Like, I kind of knew that already from the category management experience, but, just validating that and kind of going through that process. So that was the first thing, validation of what that market opportunity looks like and what the competitive landscape looks like. So that was kind of like first stage. The second part of it is then, the design. So it's like, okay, I want to do a laptop bag that's chic, sustainable, how do I design this? And so I engaged the help of a designer to get some kind of, basic ideas at the beginning. We didn't end up using any of the original ideas, actually, as we went through like the process with the factory. So designer had the ideas, going out to try and then source, a factory, which was high quality, able to like execute at the right level. Also came with the right level of, especially on the sustainability side and credibility side for this sort of audience, came with the right credentials in order to, you can stand behind the brand working with a factory that's manufacturing something like this. So the factory that I ended up being able to work with, which I was very grateful for as a startup brand, was the same factory that does like Zadig and Voltaire and a lot of other European brands, actually. And so they were fantastic, but I did at least 6 design iterations with them in order to get it right, like 6 rounds of sampling, which was, it's a lot. Like it's really, I was traveling to talk to the factory all the time. We ended up scrapping like some of the original designs. We ended up like redoing all of the designs multiple times. So it took, in order to get to the level that I was happy with, it took at least like 8 months and 6 rounds of sampling just to get just to get to the right kind of sample. And then I got it and I'm just like, okay, yes, this is, yes, we're right. I think they were fed up with me by then. The other thing I was mindful of is I had my own credibility to think about as a professional over 25 years. I didn't want to do something which completely messed up my credibility. You know, I worked hard for that. It was really important to kind of really do this right and get it to the right level of quality. So that was kind of like stage 2. Then in parallel with that, the other part, which, you know, it's my own experience as a consumer, I've been, you know, buying online for, you know, since Amazon started, basically, for the longest time. One of the biggest kind of blockers for me was the logistics process or the delivery process, actually. So if it was hard for me to receive a product or return a product if I had to, I wouldn't purchase from that supplier again. So I just wouldn't. It's just, you know, it's too hard. You only have limited time in the day. You already have so many other kind of logistical things that you have to take care of, admin and whatnot, you know, personally, and children and whatnot. You don't have time to mess around with this sort of thing. And so I needed to find a good distribution company. So I have a warehouse in the US, and so I've been working with DHL in the US from the delivery and warehousing perspective. They have a really good standard. My experience with them was great. So that was one side of it that I spent a long time kind of working on and building out. And the second part of that is actually even just getting the product into countries in the first place. And that was, I remember I was talking to a contact at one of the consulting firms, and they were talking about some e-commerce projects that they'd done. And he said, the hardest thing about this was logistics. And I'm like, oh yeah, that is like, it's such a fragmented industry. And so finding the right logistics partner and kind of getting that piece sorted out was really quite like involved. And so the amount of time that I spent on logistics and distribution and operations and things like that was significant. And so just to ensure that I had the right level of service and the right delivery speed for a country like the US, which I am focusing on because, you know, that's a market that I've worked in a lot in, and there's some good opportunities to drive partnerships in that market as well.
On the logistics point and finding the right partner, how do you go about, I mean, do you start testing and ordering things through that supply? How did you do it?
Well, I mean, I always had, like, there was this lovely, smiley DHL man who used to turn up at the house with the package, and it was always on time and tracked and everything. And so I kind of went there to start with. I talked to a few different suppliers. Like, I didn't go out and do like 10 different people or whatever. I talked to a few different ones and got quotes, and also to see how far I could negotiate as a startup as well. Because there is one thing that is like a watch out, and that is a minimum spend amount for what they call pick and pack. You pay for storage and you pay for materials and any special handling or whatever, but you also pay for pick and pack, and that is like taking the item out of the location, putting it in the box, putting the label on, getting it out the door. And there is a minimum amount that they require in order to do that, and a lot of the time it's very high for a startup. And so you have to be super mindful. It doesn't include everything, your whole bill, it just includes that. So you have to be super mindful of negotiating those sort of things. I just spent a lot of time like drilling down and, you know, talking and finding options. And yeah, it's still, you know, it's a work in progress, obviously, but always, like everything is always a work in progress. I don't want to be in a situation, especially when I'm serving a big market like the US, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm just putting in a warehouse in a random location and just, you know, sending it out, and, you know, 2 months later, if it shows up, then that's great. You know, it's like I want to be sure that it's a really good experience based on my own expectations.
Yeah. Did you have a design in your mind? You said you worked with a designer. Did you have like a sketch that you went with? How did it all start?
Well, initially I was like, oh, give me some ideas. I have like I need something which is, you know, I like this whole, like the idea of something puffy because it's protective, but, you know, that it's squashy. You can squash it into, you know, airline compartments or other bags or whatever. And so I ended up with like, you know, the Moncler of laptop bags at the beginning, which ended up being too puffy. And, you know, it was just, and I love that brand, by the way. And, you know, it could have been very chic, but it's just in order to get the structure and everything right for a laptop bag, it just wasn't working. And so then just, you know, sat down and I'm like, okay, if I would want a laptop bag. What would I want it to look like? And I'm like, I love the envelope clutch bags. I love them. I just want a big one of those. But I want it to be slim. I want it to be able to, so normally the clutch bags have like square bases, and so kind of needed to modify, bring them up, add pockets and padding and other things. And so just had to, it was almost like the precision needed to get it to the right level with the right level of pockets to fit everything was quite... I show you
which was the first design that you felt, right, we've nailed it? Which was the first one?
The first one was like this. This one is actually, this is the first one that I got so this is it's called the signature clutch. It's apple leather. So it's apple leather.
So if you hadn't told me it was apple leather, I would assume that that's like a really luxurious calf's leather or something.
Yeah, no, it feels beautiful. It smells nice. It's really, it's a beautiful bag. And it has kind of more of a structured, it's a little bit harder, it has more of a structured, but it's still super slim on this side. So that was kind of the first design. And there was also a bag that I was designing for men, because I had spoken to a couple of, ex-colleagues about it, and they're like, we want one as well. And so I'm like, okay, I'll make a guy bag. So this is the other one that I thought was it was just beautiful.
Yeah,
so it looks, this is actually corn leather, so you can feel
this would be unisex, surely.
Yeah, I kind of designed it more for men.
More like a man, yeah.
Yeah, but it is, so those were kind of the first two where I'm like, oh, okay, this is great.
Yeah, my husband would definitely like that.
Yeah.
It's a future birthday present right
Yeah,
now.
there you go. I'm glad you like it. But the other thing for me is so I love those. They're beautiful. They're more structured. Personally, I prefer things that are a bit softer. So I'm like, okay, I need a softer version. And so we made ones with the gusset is kind of more rounded. It doesn't go in. It's super soft. Yeah, so this is more of a unisex bag. This is my favourite one, actually. But it's really, you can actually, squash it in half. It's super squashy. So I've got things in it at the moment. But, yeah, it's kind of it's really, really soft. And the other one that you were holding lovingly earlier, that one.
I think this one's my favourite.
Yeah, there you go. So that one is...
really lovely. And do you want to talk us through the inside? I'm sure lots of thoughts went into the compartment.
I'll show you this one, actually, because I've prepared it earlier. But basically, this is the smallest bag that we have. It's super light, really feather light, but really soft. And in it, at the moment, you can see it's quite slim as well at the side there. So, but in it at the moment, I have my Surface device, my Surface laptop. I have a MacBook. I need to show you taking it out of it. I've got my Kindle. I have cords. I have my mouse. It's my Surface mouse. You can see I'm still a Surface fan. I have pens. So there's lipstick in there. So there's actually 9 compartments in this bag. So it literally fits 2 laptops and other things as well, but it's really, really thin and light. And so this is where I mean in terms of going into depth on the design. So even, there's certain trips that I've done, business trips, where I've tagged on a hiking trip. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but, if you're going to a different country or whatever, sometimes the best thing is getting out and seeing the sights and whatnot. And so I've literally taken off with a backpack, and I've had, not that a lot of people might want to do this, maybe they would, but you can actually squash this up and put it in your big bag if you need to, or whatever. So
that's fantastic. You don't have to be too precious about it. The factory you were working with did a lot of testing.
Yes.
Can you talk us through that?
Yeah, so part of the selection process was to ensure the factory really focused on quality. And so they go through multiple different tests. There's tests for tear strength, which is essentially they pull the fabric apart. They have abrasion resistance, where they're literally rubbing the fabric for hours and hours and hours at a time to see to ensure that it doesn't start to wear.
Wow.
It's amazing. Colour fastness as well. So whether the colour actually fades when they're doing that. They actually put chemicals. So basically they have a chemical that they rub on, and if there is a colour problem, it will come off on their swab. And so they test for that. They also test for water resistance. So they have spray, like salt spray. I did my own water resistance test I'll talk about. But they have salt spray that they literally spray on the fabric to see, whether it actually withstands salt water, basically. They also do strength tests. So on all of the hardware, there's they drop bags. They like our bags, they put 3 kilos of weight in them and then put them on a machine where they shook it for 200 times to see if the hardware broke. And they swing the bags around. I mean, there's all sorts of tests that they do.
It's a beautiful and tough.
Yes, exactly.
Like us.
Yes, exactly. That's right. That's right. I mean, because you think about what you go through in a day, and especially if you're carrying around a bunch of technology, which is, can get heavy, you want something which is going to withstand that, right? And also be protective. Yeah. So, yeah. So I also did my own test, the plant-based vegan leathers. They are designed to withstand humidity and extreme conditions. So they're basically manufactured with extracts from the plants mixed with recycled PU. And so it's basically bonded together to create something which is, very strong. But the growing of something like cactus leather, for example, it doesn't use any irrigation. They leave the root system in the ground and only extract parts of the plant. And all of the apple and others, that's all waste from other things. And so it's literally, then it's munged together. But it requires hardly any water at all. It's built for strength, essentially. And so it's funny, I took the bag for a photo shoot down near the beach. We basically took it down, put it in the water, and we were going to do it's splash proof, test or whatever. And of course the wave came and kind of carried it away. And so it was literally submerged in water. So this bag was submerged in water. It's still...
This bag has literally been for a swim in the Singapore Sea.
Yeah, literally. It's been
you would never
in the
tell.
surf. No, exactly. And so I just gave it a bit of a rinse afterwards, and it's perfectly fine. It hasn't gone moldy or anything.
No, it's perfect.
It's just, I just put it in the cupboard. It was really important that I actually used the bag in this conversation, that I did that too. I made sure it was the same one, because otherwise I would feel bad and dishonest saying that. And so, so I literally had this, rinsed it off, dried it off, put it in in the sun. I just left it in the sun and dried it off, and then put it in the cupboard and pulled it out literally for this conversation.
Yeah, it's pristine.
And so it's beautiful. So yeah. So I was very happy about that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And leather handbags in Singapore notoriously go mouldy if you put them in the cupboard for a bit.
Oh,
so
yeah, definitely. You have to get them renovated.
Yeah. So it's a real pro if these materials don't go mouldy.
Yes, definitely. So, yeah. So even though it is sustainable, it's also very chic.
Yeah.
And strong. So I was very happy with that.
Like you?
Oh, and you.
Okay, so this is Candina demoing the bag and how the weight distribution works if you're carrying lots of heavy devices.
So normally we would be carrying around everything in our tote bag, and normally this would be, I don't know, say 3 to 5 kilos worth of things. And so what's happening is there's research, multiple amounts, extensive research that's been done on it, that people are getting musculoskeletal problems from carrying around bags on one side. And so they are getting sore necks, headaches, back problems. And so I think it's an relatively unknown issue, to be honest. And so, because a lot of people have these big heavy bags on one side. And so this was designed to kind of at least be able to put your technology in one side and carry it like this when you're walking around in the street or whatever. It's easier to access. And then what I wanted to be able to do is if I was travelling then needing to get on the plane and consolidate luggage, I could easily just pop it into my tote bag and voila.
Voila. Perfect.
There you go.
So I know that you're really sporty and you're a keen runner. What I think is quite interesting is how this philosophy is part of what you've created, that caring about your body is not separate from professional ambition.
I think that was something that was clear kind of early on. I used to run as a sport, and I found that when I was training and running and, healthy and fit and whatnot, I always performed better than when I was kind of neglecting myself, essentially. So this is fairly common knowledge. But like the theme throughout this is, okay, in order to maintain your physical health throughout your life, and I've just turned 50. I'm looking at preserving my body kind of going into the future. And in order to do that, I'm thinking of the different things that could be impacting me as I'm kind of moving around and traveling and other things. And this is one of those things. If I have neck problems, it starts to result in back problems, which starts to result in ankle problems because everything's connected, for example. And then if I'm injured, I can't exercise, and it becomes like a cycle. Like the whole point that I'm trying to make here is that everything is connected in your body and also mentally, especially as you're starting to age, at any age really. It's really important to keep that in mind. And so the types of products and the types of things that I think about help to support that, essentially, even a laptop bag. So, and especially given the weight that you carry in that bag.
Do you want to tell us about the name, GLM?
Oh, yes. So GLM, that is basically a combination of family initials. So mine and my children. Part of the reason I set this up was also something, so I have two children, they are 15 and 17, and part of the reason why I set this up is they are both keenly interested in business and marketing, and, my son has even wanted to, start selling things online and things like that, and so I really wanted to set it up for them as a family business as well, that something that we could work on together, and I can, help to share what I've learned as well with them. So as they're, going through university or they're starting out in their careers, they can either work on the business or they already have a background in something that they can take with them. So that was important to be able to do that.
Let's talk about the feedback you've got from the bag so far.
Oh, yes. I think one of the trickiest things about doing your own thing is it's very vulnerable in terms of like how people are going to react. Like what is the feedback going to be from this? So it's very, especially when you put so much effort and time and kind of love and care and thought and everything into something, it's like, oh my goodness, what if people don't like it? Well, even when it's so funny because I worked in marketing and have done so much content that even building my own content is a lot harder because I'm like, oh, what if the content's not right? No. It's like it's a very personal kind of process, and so I was really relieved, actually. Well, very happy because the whole point is to make something that people love and is useful for them. But something I was relieved and happy about was the fact that I had such great feedback on the products. A lot of the time, you say you're doing laptop bags and people are like, oh. And then you pull it out and they're like, I remember having a lunch with a group of ladies, and there was squeal. They were like, oh. So that was like, oh, it's so validating. So the lovely thing is everybody who I've showed the bags to has been giving glowing feedback. It's just, we love this is perfect, this is what we're missing, this is what we needed, this is so chic, et cetera, et cetera. It's really, it's been like very validating and lovely, actually. And I've had a lot of really great support from people as a result.
We're so used to ugly laptop bags that everyone's so excited when they finally got such a gorgeous offer.
There you go. Thank you. Thanks so much.
So what's next for GLM?
Well, at the moment, I'm focused on working in the US market, and also I started working in Singapore because I'm here, and there's so much great opportunity to work with different people and brands and others. Like we've done a partnership with Vogue here, and I'm working with several other designers and some of the other like PC manufacturers in the area. But US is really a big focus. There's some key partnerships that will be launching there, which will be really important. So I'm really focusing on that. The next step after that would be really to expand into other markets. And so part of what I'm doing now is looking at how can I set up a robust distribution model. I'm really not happy just having it somewhere and just, sending it out. I want to create the right distribution model to make sure that the delivery process is really a great experience, because I would love to expand into other markets. I have, friends and others in other markets who are basically saying, when is it coming here? Like, we want one of these. When are you bringing it? And so that's kind of my focus over the next 12 months, is really just building out the brand, getting the US right, and being able to drive some market expansion.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Well, I'm so excited to see what comes next.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.